Hello everybody, as you know, my name is Sierra Thompson and the behavior I chose to monitor was weightlifting. Through my weightlifting monitoring, I chose both upper body movements and lower body movements. Those obviously include exercises that work the lower body muscles and exercises that work the upper body muscles. I chose to do weightlifting because it had always been a very big part of my life. I weightlifted all throughout high school, and then because I played sports, and when I got to college is when it got more intense. So I've weightlifted for about 8 years of my life, more intensely throughout college, just due to playing a Division I sport. It's just very demanding of you. After I got done playing college sports, I decided to take a break from working out, which included my weightlifting that I was doing when I was playing sports. I went about a year and a half, 2 years without weightlifting or working out intensely. That's because COVID hit, a lot of gyms were closed, and my body just needed a break. So I decided it was in my best interest to just take that break. Once I got back into weightlifting, it actually wasn't too long before school had started, which is when this project had started, or this monitoring process had started. It was about a couple months, I'd say about 4 months. I had been weightlifting before we began this monitoring process, so I figured it would be a perfect thing for me to begin to monitor for this project. The main reason I wanted to get back into my weightlifting in the first place was because I decided that I needed to lose a little weight. Because of COVID and the time I taken off from weightlifting, I noticed some weight gain in areas that I wasn't too happy about. So I just decided that it would be a very good idea for me personally to try to get back to the shape I was in. Not technically when I was playing a college sport, because that's some serious training to be in the top shape of your life, but to moderately be in shape and get back to the physique that I used to be. Thinking about the tracking process I decided to use, it was through an Excel spreadsheet that I personally created. It wasn't very extensive, nothing too crazy. In the spreadsheet that I had created to monitor my weightlifting, there were multiple different columns that included all the aspects that were revolved around my weightlifting. I know I had mentioned some of those in discussion posts that were done previously, but I'll go ahead and tell you what those were again. Some of them were my maximum heart rate, my heart rate average throughout the entire lift, whether it be upper body or lower body, the calories burned during each lift, the weather outside, my mental well-being, time of day, whether or not I had counseling, mental health counseling that day, the days that I worked, the days that I would take pre-workout, and also the duration of the lift. I felt like those categories were very important to this process and had very big impacts on my performance during my weightlifting overall. So some of the barriers that I had when monitoring my weightlifting and just throughout the generality of my weightlifting was work. I recently started a job about a month ago, and with that job, I work 8 hours a day, 8.5 hours a day. While working during those 8 hours, I was on my feet the entire time and am on my feet the entire time. As many of you know, standing on your feet for that long, walking around, lifting heavy things for that duration of time is not going to be the best, and it's going to have a toll on your body. I really picked up on that, and my feet, when I got off work, were just absolutely in so much pain. When I got done with work, all I wanted to do was go home and relax and get off my feet. And when it came to maybe trying to work out and get my weightlifting in before work, I would talk myself out of it most days because I didn't want to be on my feet longer than I had to be. So that's about 30-45 minutes lifting if I were to go before, and then 8.5 hours of standing on my feet. So it just didn't sound like it would be that much fun to me. That started to really discourage me until recently. I've got more in the mojo. Like, my feet haven't hurt as bad. I think it's because I've adjusted to standing that long, and because I have adjusted to standing that long, it's been a lot easier to go to the gym after work and or before work, depending on things I have to do in the morning. Most times I work, I get done late in the evening, so my main shift is 2 to 10. Like I stated, I do work 8 hours. Another thing that was a barrier was my homework, and I would say that is technically due to me working my 8 hours 4 days a week. Once I started working, it became more me needing to plan when my homework needed to be done, like my priorities, and working out wasn't necessarily a priority at the time. It did kind of become one. I know this wasn't a behavior change project, but it did become a priority because I wanted to track my weightlifting. So with all that being said, I would definitely say the process has been hard monitoring, creating these different aspects to include in my weightlifting. I hope I get to learn about what your guys' strengths and weaknesses were through this process, and I hope that you guys learned a little bit about mine.